All right, welcome back, focused learners, to another explainer. Today, we're jumping right into the deep end. We're talking about a genuine, chronological three-act drama with incredibly high stakes. We are breaking down the tactics, the wild momentum shifts, and just the raw emotion of the 2026 FIFA World Cup semifinal between England and Argentina. Seriously, the stakes literally do not get any higher than this, and the narrative that unfolded on that pitch, it's just absolutely fascinating.
You know, you say that number to any hardcore football fan, and you can practically feel the temperature in the room drop. 21 years. That's exactly how long it's been since these two historic footballing nations last clashed on the pitch. To put that into perspective, some of the young guys lacing up their boots today, they were literally in diapers the last time this rivalry flared up. So right off the bat, that massive gap in time sets this incredibly tense, historic stage. Handshakes and smiles? Yeah, those were long gone before the referee even blew the starting whistle.
The sheer thematic contrast between the two sides right out of the gate was honestly stunning. On the one hand, you've got England. They came in with this remarkably fluid, really youthful approach. They actually made 3 distinct changes to their lineup, bringing in fresh legs, guys like Reece James, Jed Spence, and Morgan Rogers. But then on the other hand, you have Argentina. They brought grizzled, battle-tested experience to the table. Get this, 10 of their starting 11 already had World Cup winners' medals sitting at home. And they were anchored by Lionel Messi, who was stepping out for his, wait for it, 206th cap. It's just the ultimate tactical clash, right? Dynamic youth going toe-to-toe with hardened championship experience.
So those two very different styles violently collided in the first half. The commentators actually nailed it when they said there was plenty of bite, maybe a little bit of spite. It was just this aggressive, deeply physical deadlock. Literally no one was giving an inch out there. You had players like Jude Bellingham constantly in the thick of it, drawing fouls, driving hard, and taking those heavy hits that are just synonymous with semifinal football. It definitely wasn't free-flowing, beautiful football yet. It was a half of roadblocks and just fierce, fierce challenges.
0. Have you ever felt that suffocating tension of just waiting for a dam to break? Well, that was halftime. Despite all that massive talent on the pitch, both teams went into the break locked at 0-0. Aside from one really sweet long-range crack from Enzo Fernandez, the attacking flair on both sides was totally neutralized by that physical deadlock. The entire match was basically resting on a knife's edge.
Okay, let's dive into this, because then the deadlock finally breaks. England drew first blood, and they did it by flawlessly executing their transition game, which, as we know, is a major superpower for this young squad. It happened in 3 rapid-fire steps. First, the unthinkable happens. They actually intercept a pass from Lionel Messi. Second, Morgan Rogers unleashes this massive surge forward, completely exploiting the wide-open space. And finally, he sends in a perfectly placed cross, and Anthony Gordon is arriving right on time to just drill it home. Tactical patience followed by lightning-fast execution. A real game-changer.
Which brings us to this incredible line from the commentary booth: "The world champions are on the ropes." Now, I want you to put yourselves in the shoes of the Argentine players for a second. Imagine you're the defending world champions. You have a squad packed with incredibly experienced veterans, and you've just been totally stung by this rapid, youthful counterattack. You are officially rattled. But, as we all know, true champions don't just stay on the ropes. They mount an overwhelming response.
And Argentina didn't just respond. They initiated an absolutely relentless battering of the English defense. The momentum completely flipped. It started almost immediately. In the 46th minute, Giuliano Simeone is denied only by a phenomenal last-ditch tackle from Jed Spence. A few minutes later, a sensational cross from Messi forces an absolute top-tier save from Jordan Pickford. The pressure just kept compounding, building and building, until the 70th minute when Alexis McAllister rang a shot violently off the post. You could literally feel Argentina finding this fresh wave of energy and completely tilting the pitch in their favor.
And you know what? That relentless pressure finally burst the dam. After continuous barrages and completely dominating the aerial battles, Enzo Fernandez stepped up and delivered an absolute beauty. He'd already tested Pickford back in the first half, but this time he calibrated his sights, struck the ball with absolute venom, and smashed in a stunning long-range equalizer. It was a brilliant strike, and honestly, it rightfully rewarded Argentina for their overwhelming surge in possession and pure aggression.
2. As the tension in the stadium absolutely skyrocketed, Alexis McAllister hit the post not just once, but a second time. Seriously, he hit both posts. That single digit right there, 2, proves just how agonizingly thin the margins are in a World Cup semifinal. A fraction of an inch in either direction, and the entire fate of a nation completely changes. It perfectly illustrates the sheer volume and the incredibly high quality of the chances Argentina was creating at this point.
So, this leaves us with a pretty pivotal question. How do you stop a rattled world champion once they've found their footing? Well, the answer is, you kind of might not be able to. The momentum had just become entirely overwhelming. England was desperately struggling to plug the holes, dealing with header after header inside their own box. The world champions had completely flipped the script. They transformed from being on the ropes to becoming the absolute dictators of the tempo.
And that brings us deep into the 12th added minute, the ultimate climax of the match. Let's break down this winning play, because it's brilliant. It all starts with Messi, who isolates himself on the right wing. Now, everyone in the stadium and watching at home is expecting him to chop back onto his favored left foot. I mean, it's what he's done thousands of times, right? But instead, he fakes. He totally goes against the grain, unexpectedly uses his right foot, and stands up this beautiful, hard cross. And waiting in the box is Lautaro Martinez. He climbs majestically into the air, completely unmarked, to emphatically thump the header home. Absolute deception from Messi, pure majesty from Martinez, definitively sealing a 2-1 comeback for Argentina.
Now, you might be wondering, why does this specific path to defeat matter so much for England? Well, it's because history has this really brutal habit of repeating itself. Think back to the 2018 World Cup against Croatia. England scored first, only to lose 2-1 in extra time. Fast forward to 2026 against Argentina, and it is an exact mirror image. England scores first, they execute this absolutely brilliant early game plan only to succumb to relentless pressure and lose 2-1 deep in added time. It's an agonizing structural recurrence of an incredibly difficult narrative for them.
Which leaves us with this final kind of lingering thought today. In sports, are you doomed to repeat history if you can't survive those massive momentum shifts? We saw a really brilliant tactical setup from a youthful England side fall victim to a familiar script purely because an incredibly experienced Argentine side simply refused to be broken. It really speaks volumes about the cyclical, often unforgiving nature of sports, and for sure, the undeniable power of championship experience. Thank you so much for joining me for this breakdown, focused learners. Keep analyzing, keep asking questions, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.